I'm on a mission to make sure that at least one of you watches this franchise. I am now I am now a fan. I am a big fan of this. And god damn it, they did it because in part 1, at the beginning of part 1, I wasn't sure. I wasn't even sure if I was going to continue the film. To be honest, it felt very like Conjuring-ish. And I was like, we don't need more Conjuring. So I was already kind of mid on whether I was going to continue it or not. And then the second half completely sold me. Flaws and all, it leaned out of the Conjuring's asshole and jumped into Evil Dead's asshole. And I was like, this is where we need to be. I'm okay with this. And flaws and all, it still did enough to feel even more different from Evil Dead, even though its influence was clear. I mean, our main character, Yak, is actually wearing a blue button down and has a boomstick, a double-barreled shotgun. So, like, it's unmistakable. But the film was like a messy but fun thrill ride that I almost dipped out of. But because of this sequel and the fact that I clapped at the end of it, and I clapped maybe like 3 times somewhere in the climax, I honestly, I'm a fan of this franchise now. Like, this franchise needs eyes on it. There is a reason why all these films have become the highest grossing films in Thailand. When for each one, like every single one that came out was the highest grossing film in Thailand. I understand. I get it. And everyone else needs to understand and needs to get it. This is not actually a franchise that you skip out on if you're a horror fan. I mean that. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? One is a messy but fun ride, but it is messy. And its pacing is straight up culo, which is Spanish for not good. And this one, every issue that I had just flew off into the vapor. And they fixed every concern, every issue I had. Did a few other issues pop up? Yes, but they addressed all the other ones. And I'm okay with that because no movie is perfect. So this film continues 3 years after the end of the original. Without spoiling too much, there is a tragedy at the end of the film, and now our boy Yak is on a mission with a holy man / priest / shaman to find the ghoul / entity that is responsible for all the bullshit that happened in the first movie. We find him in a very different place. Not only is he on the heels of this ghoul and trying to figure out, like, where does she reside, but we are full-on anthropological mode right here. Like, we are full-on Ash meets Indiana Jones with a like a couple milligrams of cocaine. Like, this mixture of like anthropological horror with Evil Dead horror it just works, and it just makes the film feel different, even if it is taking from different things. We find him looking for people who are possessed by entities that could then track him to find this entity in a giant forest. Him and the shaman come across other family members, and all these family members are also trying to look for this entity because they've all endured pain. The villagers have had enough. So a group of villagers and our main characters join together and go into the forest to track down the ghoul. And what you have during this movie is a film that, one, takes itself way less seriously than the first. Thank God, because that's exactly the dose of energy that this movie needed to justify having a sequel. It takes itself less seriously. It focuses not just on horror sequences, okay, but action sequences. The medley fruit mixture here between chaotic action and some martial arts, and then like straight up haunted forest deadite action. Like, that shit shouldn't work. It sounds insane, but it actually works. I was glued. This movie's pacing, just right off the heels, just says, you know what, you had a problem with the first hour of the movie, we're gonna fix that. There is not a single dead second in this film. In turn, do we get less story? Yes, we have established what the goal is, and the goal doesn't really change. There are plots what the fuck was I just gonna say? There are plot twists that keep you guessing. There are quite a few surprises and quite a few major character moments involving Yak just being a fucking badass, man. This guy is the Scream King. He is the quintessential Scream King. Like, he is so badass. I have not seen a character this badass in a horror film as a male lead in a while, right? Like, I have not. This guy is modeled after Ash Williams, but he does him justice and then some. Like, he is so badass. The way he handles these deadite slash ghosts jumping around the forest, which, may I add, there's so much to this forest and its lore. Like, not just deadites jumping around, but there's the fog is evil. Okay, we got evil fog. Okay, we have werecats. We have like, why is it here? I can't tell you. But when it happens, it's so badass, dude. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy. The amount of ingenuity that came, that went into like this film and its tropes in terms of like what the forest is like and how the rules of these spirits affect the forest and how it affects the people that are walking into this forest mentally, and the rules that one has to respect while entering the forest to appease the forest gods so that they're on your side, so that you don't have to deal with half the shit these people dealt with. There's so much good shit in this. There's a lot of variety in all of these action sequences that we do bounce between in terms of action and horror, and sometimes a perfect medley of both. But there's voodoo, there's natural horror, there's deadite horror, and I know that I'm using the word deadite loosely, but these guys, these creatures, when people are possessed, they do act very over exaggeratingly. They are very aggressive. They're smiling, and even then, the camera work is extremely Sam Raimi, and I mentioned Sam Raimi in the first film because obviously the influence was clear. Here, they go full on Evil Dead 2 in terms of just how fucking quirky and crazy this shit is, right? Like, there is a distinction between like Evil Dead 1's humor and Evil Dead 2's humor. Like, in Evil Dead 2, we just didn't give a fuck. This is that sort of shift in tone. Family, I love them in this. They're so strong. So while Yak is off in the forest, we do have the rest of the family dealing with one of the sisters about to get married. And in a good way, everyone's very excited and they're prepping a wedding, hoping that Yak will make it back in time. This part of the film is the haunted house element of it, but it's not in the house. It's in the reception building where they're going to have the wedding. And there's two movies happening at the same time, right? You have this anthropological horror adventure, and then you have this straight up like haunted house counterpart. And they work, and they're happening simultaneously, parallel to each other. So you're constantly being like, you're excited about what's happening to Yak, and then you're like, okay, but the family, what's going on with them? And because I like these characters, I think they're an incredible support system for each other that you don't usually get in movies. You get the dad, you get the mom, you get this, but like, how many movies can you say like the leads are an entire family that is like a positive display of what like family looks like? And this is just separate from the movie, but my observation is whenever you make a film about with parents, either the dad's a deadbeat and the mom's dead, or the mom's around and the dad's gone. Like, it's always that. This is such a positive display of like family values, and I'm not someone that like typically cares about that stuff, but it's so prominent here, and these characters have each other's back that I'm like, I love these people. Please, none of them die. They should never die. Towards the end, we go into this climactic sequence that just had me clapping my hands. I was doing this. The whole time. I felt like it was a theater experience. I very much felt like a summer blockbuster. I was like a horny dolphin. I was just clapping. Like, there's so much to enjoy that I didn't really think about any negatives. And I think the only negative that I can come up with, and not to poke holes in anything because that's not what I want to do. I don't want to poke holes when there don't need to be holes that are poked, right? But if I had to point out something that did kind of come to mind, is that the story is less the focus. The stakes are heightened. The story is less the focus. And in turn, we're having fun. Like, we're genuinely enjoying ourselves. This is a mile-a-minute thrill ride with crazy mixture of genres that all pay off. If you're an Evil Dead fan, if you like exaggerated horror and you like in your face, I mean, down to the camera angles. Whenever his boomstick's down, the camera just and it does that. And I live for this shit. I love it. You know what you're doing, and you're doing it well. It's not like you're doing it well, and it's still different enough to feel separate from that. The characters are likable. The horror is great. The visuals are extreme and in your face. It doesn't take itself seriously. This is a movie that you can absolutely enjoy. Get through part one. Get through part one. Okay, sit through it. Trust me, you will be rewarded with the last half of part one and the entirety of this movie. Do you need to see part one to enjoy two? I don't think so, but just for the emotional pull that I had, because I actually care about these characters now, I would say just for the setup, watch one. Please watch one, get through two. You're gonna have a ball. This was such a fun time. I really, really, I am a fan of this franchise now. I'm gonna talk to everybody about it. Some of the effects aren't great, but Thailand's always been the film industry in Thailand has always been trying to keep up with special effects, and I think that this is some of the best that they've ever had, and it's just not that jarring that it's distracting because the practical effects and the gore are fantastic. The action, the direction is incredible. So I will absolutely overlook some cheesy ass special effects and a simple story for what this is. I mean, it's an hour and 54 minutes. I had so much fun. And I'm ready to watch three tomorrow. Like, I am so hyped for this. I'm so ready for three. This is such a fun movie franchise. Watch it already. I will let you know tomorrow if three pays off. If they pull this off, this is my Conjuring. I'm telling you right now, this was so fun. Anyway, that's it. That's my review. Thank you to every single one of you who have had a part in getting me up to 500 subs, which is all 500 plus of you. So thank you. We made 500 plus subs in the afternoon, and we're still growing, and the comments are great, and some of you have reached out on Instagram, just to name a few, like that I'm having good conversations with, like Rick, Hunter, Marie. I appreciate you guys genuinely. This is so cool. So thank you guys for sticking around, and as always, I will see you guys. What was it? At the movies.